Hello, I'm Mark Blunden and this is the Standards Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, what would AI do in a nuclear apocalypse? But first, a study by University College London finds drugs commonly used to treat erectile dysfunction may help to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Researchers found men prescribed such medications, including Viagra, were 18% less likely to develop Alzheimer's years later compared to study participants not taking the pills. Erectile dysfunction drugs work by dilating blood vessels and were initially developed to treat hypertension and angina. The UCL study involved around 270,000 men, and research suggests the pills could also help influence memory by improving brain blood flow. Next, a volcano on Iceland's southwestern peninsula has erupted for the second time this year, pumping lava 260 feet into the air. The eruption began at about 6 a.m. along a 2-mile fissure northeast of Mount Sundnukar. The Icelandic Meteorological Office says intense earthquake activity began about half an hour beforehand. It comes less than 2 months after another eruption forced the evacuation of the coastal town of Grindavik. Now, it really could be the never-ending story as Fortnite maker Epic Games and Disney announce an all-new games and entertainment universe. They say it will mean characters from Disney's catalogue being brought into the hit mobile game, including from Marvel and Star Wars. Disney will take a $1.5 billion equity stake in Epic in the deal. Next, on the 8th of April, day will become night in North America for 4.5 minutes during a total solar eclipse, twice as long as the last one, which was 7 years ago. An estimated 44 million people from Mexico to Newfoundland will witness the phenomenon as the moon blots out the sun. But how do you experience it safely?
The sun, while it is super important to life on Earth, it's also got a lot of harmful radiation that you don't see, but it is there because it's at a wavelength that you actually can't detect, but your eye is going to be sensitive to it. And so at no point is it safe to look directly at the sun.
That's the American Museum of Natural History's Jackie Flaherty.
It is not safe to look at the sun, even with sunglasses. In order to look at the sun, you need to ensure that whatever eyewear you have on or protective gear is blocking all of the dangerous radiation from you, the ones that your eye can't see or detect.
And remember, sunglasses just won't do. Proper eclipse viewing specs are crucial for safely observing the spectacle. Now, the longest surviving heart patient has been recognised by Guinness World Records. Bert Janssen, 57, who's from the Netherlands, has survived 39 years with the donor organ he received at London's Harefield Hospital in the 1980s after being diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, a condition impacting the heart's ability to pump blood around the body. The operation was carried out by transplant pioneer Professor Samagdi Yaqub after a heart became available following a major car accident. Currently, according to NHS data, more than 7,300 adults are on the transplant waiting list in the UK, with over 330 of them waiting for hearts. Let's go to the ads. Stay there for more news from the world of tech and science. Plus, penguins peer as the Royal Navy picks up Antarctic waste. Why not hit follow in the meantime and give us a rating? Welcome back. The Copernicus Climate Change Service reports that last month was the hottest January on record. Global temperatures were 13.14 degrees C, which is 0.7 degrees C above the average between 1991 and 2020. It also marks the 8th consecutive record-breaking month, with every month since June being the hottest ever recorded. Next, research by institutions including Stanford and the Georgia Institute of Technology have been investigating what some of the top artificial intelligence programs would do in the event of nuclear war. And worryingly, all of the programs chose offense over de-escalation in scenarios of war, invasion and cyber attack at a time when militaries seek to incorporate self-thinking tech onto real battlefields. According to the study, the GPT 3.5 model, which is the successor to ChatGPT, was the most aggressive, but with all software models exhibiting a similar level of behaviour. The team suggests that this behaviour stems from AI being trained on how international relations escalate rather than de-escalate. Now, The National Audit Office says the government must ensure it has counter-fraud experts across departments to vet new suppliers in the event of another COVID-style national emergency. It comes after the amount of fraud reported in the accounts that the NAO audited jumped from £5.5 billion over 2 years before the pandemic started to a whopping £21 billion in the 2 years afterwards. And finally, Royal Navy sailors have been removing 3 tons of rubbish from a remote Antarctic island. As a colony of chinstrap penguins looked on, the crew of icebreaker HMS Protector continued work on Brabant Island to remove waste from an abandoned 1980s expedition. The crew started the Antarctica waste clearance mission in 2017 and returned after ice had thawed, so remaining items could be removed, from ropes to scaffolding, pans and even a spice rack. Brabant Island is an uninhabited island in the northwest of Antarctica, which was the site of a joint forces scientific mission between 1983 and 1985. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the latest news, interviews and analysis from the Standard Podcast here in London, and we'll be back on Friday at 1 p.m. See you then.